looking at just the basics of algebra, the different number systems, operations, and things like that. So in 1.1 here, we are starting with variables and expressions. So starting with the definition of a variable is a letter or symbol that represents a number or a placeholder. So variables can be various things. Most commonly, they will be letters. So we have our common variables, which would be x or y, but really a variable can be any symbol. So you could use a star or a smiley face. Really, anything works. It is just a placeholder for a number. An expression is a mathematical phrase that includes numbers, variables, and operations, which is your addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division. The important thing to remember here is an expression does not have an equal sign. If it had an equal sign, it would be an equation. So examples of this would be 3x plus 4, or you could say just like 7y. So really the main thing we're looking at in 1.1 here is how to translate phrases. So translating phrases, we have one of our operations is addition. When translating phrases that will include addition, we are looking for the terms plus, combine, more than, sum, together, or even total. Similarly, subtraction, we're looking for terms like minus, less than, or difference. For multiplication, we're looking for terms like multiply, product, or times. And then for division, we are looking for terms like divide, quotient, or split. Okay, it's important to keep in mind that these are just a couple of examples of different terms that you will see. There are other terms and there are other operations that I did not include in this list. So we'll just kind of learn as we go here. So some of the special phrases that we will see that, will kind of change things for us a little bit. One of the types of terms is making a rainbow. So if I gave you the phrase 10 more than X, in a case like this, you would make a rainbow, which would say that more than is our phrase. As you can see above, more than indicates addition. So 10 and X would make a rainbow, and the operation would be addition. So our equation or our expression for this would be 10, try that again, 10 plus X. We also have turnaround phrases. which an example of that would be if I gave you 5 less than y. So less than is considered a turnaround phrase. Those would include all of our subtraction or division phrases. And in these cases, 5 and y are going to be connected. Oops, I'll scroll down so I stop hitting that. But instead of saying 5 minus y, it turns around and becomes y minus 5. Okay, other phrases that we will see will be more than, and we will also see less than. If you see is more than, that means that we will use a greater than symbol. If you see is less than, we will use a less than symbol. Okay? The next question is, when will we use parentheses? So we will use parentheses when there is more than one operation. So if I gave you something like 3 times the sum of x and y, you may notice that we have more than one phrase. So in this, or more than one operation within this phrase. So the first one I see is we have times and we have sum. So when you have more than one phrase, you will want to work right to left, so the opposite of how you read it. So working right to left, sum is our first operation. So the sum occurs between x and y. Sum means addition. So let's start by writing x plus y. Since we have more than one operation, we will use parentheses. So we will add parentheses around our first operation. Now, continuing to the left, next we have times. So we will multiply 3 times our first operation. So I could just write a 3 on the outside. You could also put a multiplication symbol in there. Really does not matter. So that's what you do when you have more than one operation. All right, let's do one of the example problems and we will save the other for class. So we have 4 more than p. So in this case, our operation is going to be more than. If you look above, more than indicates addition. So in this case, we have p plus 4 or 4 plus p. When it comes to addition or multiplication, it does not matter the order. Moving on to the second example problem, let's highlight our operations. We have the sum of 13 and twice a number h. So in this case, we have twice, which is an operation that we didn't really go over. So this is one where you just have to think on our own. Twice indicates times 2. When you want twice something, you multiply it by 2. So starting right to left, we have twice a number h. So that tells me that we are going to have 2 times h. Since in this case we have more than one operation, let's put parentheses around those two. Next we have the sum of 13 and what we currently have. Sum indicates addition, so we just need to add 13 to what we already have. and that is our expression. All right, try the last one on your own, and that is one that we will come back to together during class. All right, thanks for watching.